Good evening to everyone. I am Iannis Voutsinos, Head of EU Affairs and Funding of PwC. I'm happy to be here with you. And also, I think this last panel is the last but not least. I'm sure that the organizer left this panel at the end of this day for purpose, because the topic is industrial base and procurement transformation for European industry base. In one word, what's the future, what's the next day of European defense industry? And before starting, let me introduce our panel, starting from Sébastien Guérémy. Sébastien is Vice President of THALES for underwater system and member of GICAN. Mr. Pavol, Grman, from representing the Slovak Defense Industry Association. Henrik von Loevenich, representative of German Security Defense Association, BDSV, and Mr. Rozolis, president of Greek Defense Association, SEKPY. As I said before, we are going to discuss about the future, the next day of the European defense industry. And let's start with Sébastien. Sébastien, Europe is rapidly increasing defense spending, and the purpose is to become more capable. But do you think it's enough, or we're spending more money without any reason?
No, I think we are definitely becoming stronger. And I would say it's true on 3 different timescales. So first, short term, navies, for instance, are becoming stronger because it's true that the stock of ammunition, of torpedoes, missiles were very low. Second, on the mid-term, investing is enabling us to grow our industrial capabilities, to enable us to ramp up. And if I take an example that I know well, for some towed sonars that we have for anti-submarine warfare, we've sold more than 100 now. There is one, by the way, operated since a few months by the Hellenic Navy. And we have ramped up from 1 to 3 in terms of capacity to produce, because in the next 5 years, we will produce more of these than we have produced in the past 20 years. So it's very, very important. And the third time scale is, of course, long term, if we want not only to grow a capability, but to start a new one. And this takes time. And I will take here again one example that I know well. It's the sonobuoy capabilities. So sonobuoy, basically only the US today manufactures some. So a few years back, the French MOD decided to produce some and to restart a sovereign capability in Europe to produce those. It's things that can take something like 10 years. So we are today at the end of the process, but of course it takes longer. So what is important to make sure that we get the best out of those 3 timescales is predictability and consistency in those investments, in those budgets.
Many things to discuss, but we will have the opportunity to discuss further later on. So, Pavol, industrial base and cooperation. How we can incentivize cross-border cooperation rather the national duplication? What do you believe on it?
I'm from Slovak Security and Defense Association, and I'm from Slovakia, and Slovakia is a special part of NATO. This is eastern flank of NATO. This is a special part because we changed all technology, all Russian technology to new technology. And this is a challenge, this is a chance for local companies, this is a chance for international companies, this is a chance for big multinational companies, but this is task mainly for how to define situation in our part of NATO and how to create how to create capabilities from military industry to those requirements. But this is the big task now. Every country is a small country, but we have to find a solution how to work together and how to create common solution, because our enemy is one big enemy, maybe. And this is the most important task, how to put together requirements from every member of industrial community with needs of requirements for security of our part of Europe, for our part of NATO, of our part, and the whole Europe and whole NATO. We have old companies. We produce mainly technology like land forces technologies. We produce ammunition, but we have many companies, they produce modern technology. And what is important from my point of view is put together technologies and put together training for specialists. They use those technologies, because technologies without specialists, they have a high level of training and they know this technology, it's not successful. And in our country, we have a company, they prepare specialists, they produce simulators, training, and this is the second part of technologies we need now for preparing the security of the Europe.
Very interesting. The words collaboration and skills are very important for the next day.
Yeah.
So supply chains, another big thing that we have to discuss in this panel. And let's start with Henrik, asking, is reshoring production realistic, sustainable economically? What do you believe on this, and how we could enhance the competitiveness of European defense industry?
Thank you for the question, Iannis. So it's not just an option, and Major General Boras described this very concisely a few hours earlier. So it's an absolute requirement also for the operations of the Navy. So can it be done easy? Yeah, that's probably not an easy solution, but it can be done professionally. So what you have to look at, probably also when you go into a private partnership, yeah, you tick some boxes. So how I structure is generally, so first one is willingness. So you shouldn't force a partnership. Yeah? So you have to find some kind of agreement. And the willingness means also motivation to be in country and to find the right people that have an interest in Greece in this case. And it's not difficult to find, because many Germans, they want to go to Greece, so the willingness, but it has to be also common ground with the partner. So willingness is the first one. The second one is the capability. So you check the capability, of course, and you find capability. So in the Greek industry, I understood there needs to be an upscale, or the expectations are a lot higher than there is currently. But I can tell you there are perfect companies in Greece with large, very high capability set, so to say. So Akmon just won, but also Skaramangas or other companies. Theon, for example, as well, so that are very successful internationally and have their running businesses also on an international scale, so it cannot be underestimated. They even bring a lot of assets to the table that we as German companies, they don't have. And then the third thing is capacity. So this is rarely to find, but you can still find it at some places. And this is how we create all the environment and setup around these three pillars. And we try to find the right match there. And I think, many German companies have been on a good track in the past and are currently also on a good track.
Great. Resilience is one word that we have heard many times during the last months, and I would like to continue on the same topic about supply chain and resilience, asking from Sébastien, what's the most critical vulnerabilities of the European defense supply chain?
Well, I think that in terms of weaknesses that we may have in our industry, I would quote three. Indeed, supply chain may be the first one, and it's well documented. It has been, by the way, discussed this morning. We know we have some flaws on electronic components, on critical raw materials, to a certain extent, on weapons energetics. But I think a second one, very important, is the skills. It's the number of engineers, the numbers of welders that we need for all we need to ramp up consistently is not enough. If we think of a complex transformation to autonomy, like the one we are living in the mine warfare domain, you really need lots of AI engineers to have those systems working together, to do the post-mission analysis, etc. And this, of course, is in competition with lots of other domains, not only in the defense sector. So skills, the second pillar, very important. Maybe the third pillar, and an important weakness, is that we don't know enough our common strengths. And this is true for nations, because it's always easier to procure something that is somehow US proven, than to procure from another European member state. And by the way, last year was the highest ever in terms of American exportation to Europe. So it shows that we still have a lot to do. So it's true for nation. Of course, initiatives like SAFE that compels to have a certain volume, amount of European components, etc., is important to secure more our supply chain. It needs to be strengthened. It's true for nations. It's true for industry as well, to be perfectly fair, because we don't know each other enough. And here, all the initiatives that started some years ago, like the European Defence Fund, are very important because it compels us to work together. It fosters innovation and collaboration. And of course, we are very proud to be part of many European projects, including in Greece, by the way, with THALES. And it was mentioned this morning that globally, the Hellenic industry was quite successful in EDF. So for me, those initiatives are in the right direction to strengthen our supply chain and make sure we can consistently ramp up.
Very interesting. I'm going to use a step as a bridge to ask Mr. Rozolis about the funding mechanism available in the EU level. Are these mechanisms sufficient for long-term industrial transformation? What do you think on it?
The first answer is no. As Commissioner Kubilius said yesterday, he said that there is maximum 2 billion for development of products in the next years through Commission. This is really not sufficient. But even if we have tons of billions, we need first to regulate the market. For example, we need a defense industrial registry, a clear mapping of companies with real defense, because now everybody around in Europe, everybody says, I'm doing defense. We do not say that in order to close the door to new players, but we have to ensure that public defense money is directed towards entities that can genuinely contribute to defense readiness. The second, dual use. It's everybody speaking about dual use, startups, yes. But we have to place the concept of dual use in the proper position. If we speak about defense, the dual-use outcome comes after the clear defense research and development. All from internet to GPS, from telex to most of the things that today rule the technological world, everything happened not because the companies were searching for a system that will work both commercially and defense. It was directly to work for defense. And after that, it's going to be dual use. We have to understand that, because the defense industry means you give the best weapons to your army to win. It doesn't mean you make products that can be successful in the commercial market. So we want dual use, but on the proper position. And the last is we have to do something with the bottleneck, which still face almost all the SMEs in Europe, the bottleneck of funding. 2 years ago, in the previous conference, in the same panel, we were discussing about the level that the banks put the defense industry. And we said again that we are in the same level, like if somebody wants to make an investment in casino, it gets the same evaluation if he wants to make an investment in defense. Many things are said, many promises are made, but still, for at least SMEs, there is no concrete, different approach. And the repetition of the word dual use in Europe proves that we still have some kind of allergy when we speak about defense. While you see in other countries, who are the biggest producers of defense, in America they even changed the name is Ministry of War, not Defense. Russia, Israel, they don't speak about dual use, they speak about clear defense products. So we need more money, but instead of throwing this money in a black hole, we need first to regulate who is going to get the funding.
Very interesting position. I'm going to keep this separation of defense and dual use projects, Tassos. And let's continue the same topic with Henrik. What's the role of private capital in defense industry of tomorrow?
It's a very important role because, for example, private equity companies, they bring a lot to the table that is missing in defense. It's this more shorter-term orientation of 3 years, so to get things done quickly, to scale the business, so they are absolutely professional in this area. And of course, they are also future-oriented in a short to mid-term on innovations, because you see this also that innovations are rewarded with Helsing and other companies in Europe. So they reward innovations, that's a good thing. So they put focus on innovation, and they've put a lot of focus on growth and scale the business. So Hensoldt is just one example, German company that got bought out by KKR. And there were concerns at the beginning, of course, security and so forth. But actually, it was just a very positive story. And this kind of mindset, I think, can be a real shortcut to scale the defense business as well.
Very interesting. We are looking for new funding mechanism. We have to discuss about procurement. Pavol, what do you think the procurement models of EU? Do we have to adopt more agile or fast-track procurement models? What do you think on it?
Today, we have safe investment. This is a huge amount of money. This is one possibility for creating investment for every country and building new situation for companies and then for armies. This is very important because 30 years ago in Europe was peace. Maybe you can agree with me. In my country was the investment for the Ministry of Defense maybe 1% of HDP or less. Now we have to bring 3% or 5%. This is a big question, and this is the question how we can collect not only money for national budgets, but how we can find and bring money from other sources like European investment, European Commission, European Union have to create money and bring this money to every country in the NATO, because the main goal is rebuild every army, rebuild every nation, and preparing for a specific situation. And we need it. How we can find, who we can find this money, this is task for politicians, this is task for industry, because industry have to discuss with politicians, and politicians have to create those possibilities.
So you believe that all these purchase models are very well connected with the available budget in a national and in a European level?
Yeah.
Okay. So another topic very important, Tassos, is interoperability. We have heard many times during the discussion in the EU and national level about interoperability on defense industry. How important do you think is the alignment of national priority with European initiatives? And one more question, why interoperability is still a challenge in EU level after so many years? Yes, Tassos.
It is our last panel, so we have to be a little bit provocative to...
I know that I open Pandora's box with both questions.
I'm going to make a little bit different the question. We are now in the United States, and you are asking how important is the alignment of the states' priorities with the US initiatives. Is ever going to be such a question? No.
No.
In Europe, we want to have a union. Do we want to have a common defense? In the last Greek tender for frigates, there were 7 competitors, 6 from Europe. In the submarines, there are 6 competitors, 5 from Europe. This is not viable. This is not feasible. I understand all the reasons countries say we have different opinions. But in the end of the day, we see that when Europe, through EDF, for example, they issue the EDF for the APC, for the European Patrol Corvette, suddenly 3 or 4 competitors, they come to the same ship. And this is the only way. We cannot have a union that has 10 types of frigates, 15 types of tanks. It's not possible. It's not viable. Other countries will come. And also, because we said about funding, if the more money we are going to throw before we change that, the more we are going to increase fragmentation. Again, Commissioner Kubilius, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, they say the biggest problem today in European defense industry is fragmentation. We have, every country has around a dozen of small to medium UAVs. There is no strategic UAV. So when Europe wanted to find the late Mr. Gaddafi, we asked the Americans, but it was a European war. So we need to sit down and find ways so that the national and the European needs come together to some common systems. I'm not talking to one system, but it cannot be what is happening today. So, while interoperability remains a challenge rooted in decades of fragmentation, we are now for the first time seeing the combination of political will, we understood that this is a problem, funding alignment, that means carrot and whip. We give you money, I also put some directives, and standardization efforts, common standards in Europe. This can realistically begin to choose that gap.
So a complete European Union is the solution on this, something that was discussed and we discuss still in Brussels about to complete the European Union and to solve all these kind of problems.
If I may, not only to manufacture and buy our systems, even if we select to buy F-35, a US airplane, instead of having all the European countries negotiating with the US manufacturer about 300 F-35s, each one is going alone as if they don't belong to a union, and they negotiate about 25, 30, 40, which of course is it's sweet music in the ears of the manufacturer.
We agree on it. Before closing, in 2 words, just one short question. What's the definition of success for European defense industrial base by 2030? Sébastien.
Well, I think what we've discussed today is really how do we make sure that euros spent today make for the next 20 or 30 years the ability to not only to have ships, ammunition, submarines, or whatever, but the ability to produce them, to sustain them, to enhance them, because they will get new features all along their life cycle, independently on the European soil. So how do we change the mindset to make sure that all those investments, those additional investments that we are making now, brings those benefits in the future?
Thank you. Pavol.
This is a most important question. When me personally, when I discuss with people and we discuss this question, my idea is this is like a big mosaic, and there must be clear picture. Who will create this clear picture? This is the biggest question. It must be central organization like NATO and agencies. Must be one responsible organization. They will create big European picture for every partner in NATO, in every country in Europe. And then every stone in this mosaic must be correct, create, and must be put in the right place. Only then you got this clear picture. And your question, defense industry in 2030, maybe defense industry in 2040, because this is 3 or 4 years. It's nothing against defense industry, sorry, but it's the truth. But after 10 or 15 years, we have to prepare this picture. Without this picture, we will create again and again this failure.
Thank you.
Mr. President told about it.
Thank you,
This
Pavol.
is my opinion.
Thank you, very interesting. Henrik.
I think first message, don't underestimate the industrial base of Europe. I think we are extremely strong industrial defense base, and we show this also globally in competitions every week and month, actually. And the second point is maybe a more practical one. Whatever you do, take it to more practical terms. So walk the talk in your daily life, and then if you negotiate a partnership, try to find a practical way, a pragmatic way to move forward, because at the end of the day, it's good to talk about it, but you have to also to take it to everybody's daily life and then to make it happen, because if not, it will not happen too quickly.
Thank you. And Tassos?
As Henrik said, we have a strong industry, European industry, high-tech industry. We hear every day about billions and trillions, so we have money. What is missing is to change the minds of people in Europe and in countries, and to understand that we have to do now consolidation. We have to understand that we cannot continue as we are today. If we want to be world leaders in defense systems, and first of all, to be able to defend Europe.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for the creative and discussion and the brilliant ideas. Let's work all together for the future of European defense industry. Thank you, all of you, for attending this discussion panel.